Get a quick little thumbnail real quick. All right, we're back in business. Yo, what is good, everybody? And thank you so much for stopping by the channel. For today's video, as we've done many a times throughout the duration of the years, we're going to be wrapping up 2022, discussing all of the sneakers, the best sneakers at that released this year. 2022 saw a plethora of different sneakers release, some really great and others not so much, the likes of which included the Jordan 6 UNC, the Jordan 3 Cardinal Red and Fire Red, the Jordan 4 Military Black, a few Tom Sachs, the Adifoam Q, a whole collection from New Balance put together by ALD's Teddy Santis, a few Travis Scott releases, and of course a highly celebrated and controversial Jordan 1 Chicago. That was just a small glimpse of what released among many other shoes that dropped this year. Now, what I wanted to do for the purposes of today's video was highlight a few sneakers that really stood out to me, and for that reason I did make up a few different superlative categories that these shoes excelled in, ending today's video with what ultimately was my favorite sneaker of 2022, or in other words, sneaker of the year. I did want to go ahead and pose a question off to you guys. What was your favorite release of 2022? There were so many good sneakers that dropped. This one was very difficult to me, out of which I will expound at the end of today's video, because it was like a three-way tie for the most part. But yeah, I would be interested in hearing your favorite sneaker of this year in the comment section down below. Like today's video and subscribe to the channel, notifications on, as it does help me keep this content coming. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the first shoe. All right, and so this category is what I'm gonna call letdown of the year. Yes, we're starting things off on a slightly negative note, but for a good reason, because I feel like this is a shoe that was very much so forgotten about. A lot of you might think to yourself, wait, that dropped this year? And that is none other than the Jordan 1 Dark Marina Blue. And what it gets is letdown sneaker of the year. Prior to this sneaker actually releasing, there was quite a bit of hype circulating at the prospect of a Jordan 1 Royal Blue alternative releasing, considering the fact that the shoe had appreciated in value so much. Once the shoes ultimately dropped, it seemed as though a sneaker enthusiast, hypebeast, whatever you want to call it, the market as a whole was pretty underwhelmed, and that was predominantly due to the fact that the leather that they used for the shoe was, for lack of better words, not the best. Now, this was definitely a point of contention, and something that I did point out when I did my full review of the shoe was really just very much so underwhelming, and for that reason, we can just really expect this leather to just age pretty poorly, which is something I did make note of. But despite that fact, there was a ton of people really investing in this shoe. I know a few people personally that spent thousands of dollars acquiring multiple pairs, 30, 40, 50 pairs, sitting in their homes expecting this shoe to appreciate much like other shoes of the past did. And that could very much still be a reality down the line. Overall, in my humble opinion, I felt like this shoe definitely takes the cake when it comes to the concept of a shoe that was very underwhelming, or in other words, letdown of the year. Let's move on to the sneaker that got away. This was a shoe that I personally had so much trouble acquiring, so much so to the point that I ended up purchasing an alternative to that shoe. And the sneaker that got away of 2022 for me was the Adidas Gucci Gazelle in burgundy. I posted to my stories at least 10 times asking anybody if you could lead me to a pair of burgundy Gucci Gazelles. I personally have a salesperson, a sales rep over at Gucci who regularly checked throughout the company for an inventory to where I could get this shoe. I ultimately said, okay, fine, I'll just get the forest green, that of which I couldn't find either. The reason why I wanted this shoe so badly was because the shoe is an elevated version of the classic Gazelle. This year, the Samba and the Gazelle really saw a huge and massive resurgence as a lot of different people, namely celebrities influencers really just kind of delved away from that like hype beast look for more toned down branding and classic silhouettes. And so for that reason, we saw a lot of brands like New Balance and Adidas really capitalize on the fact that we see trends kind of shifting. In one way or another, this shoe absolutely had to make its way into today's video. And this shoe gets best value sneaker of the year. Now, a few notable mentions, and you could definitely like kind of veer in different directions. One of them being the Travis Scott Phantom Black. Fantastic shoe. I personally love the shoe. I know a lot of you guys say it's very bland, and I respect that opinion, but in my mind, especially with the lace swap, I find that to be essential. With the plaid lace swap, the shoe is excellent and is going for way less than expected, or at least way less than any other Travis Scott Jordan 1 of the past, and that is by a long shot. So that could theoretically be best value sneaker of the year, as it is going for, I think it's like $550 right now, a price that I do anticipate will rise. Another notable mention is definitely the Jordan 3 Fire Red. Fantastic shoe, got the Nike Air logo on the heel. Really great quality, and goes for retail. In some respects, you could probably find them going for retail in like a Foot Locker. I know I found one recently in a Foot Locker going for retail because people just returned them due to the fact that there is no resale on them. So that's definitely another candidate as best value sneaker of the year. It's just a fantastic silhouette, awesome colorway, and another kind of slept on shoe. But this shoe is retail and excellent, like really excellent. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and grab and show it to you in hand. This is the Jordan 1 Taxi Yellow Toe, and this legitimately could have been one of my candidates for sneaker of the year. It's that good, and that's simply due to the fact that the quality is excellent. This might be the highest quality Jordan 1 of the year. As a matter of fact, I don't flinch. I'm going to stick by my conviction and say that this is the best quality Jordan 1 that dropped this year, and it is going for retail. Everything that makes for an excellent value shoe is encompassed in this sneaker. You have the Jordan 1, a timeless silhouette, classic silhouette. You have a very fire color scheme or color blocking that comprises the shoe. And then last of all, it's made out of really great materials. And so for that reason, all of this put together in tandem with the fact that it's going for retail, this has to be the best value sneaker of 2022. And truthfully, though the other shoes that I mentioned are really great, it's really not even close. This is a sneakerhead shoe. This is a sneakerhead's shoe, and real sneakerheads are gonna appreciate what this shoe has to offer, even though inventory is pretty high and there's not as much hype to it and it's not reselling. So yeah, this has to be a shoe that needs to be appreciated for 2022, and shout out Nike for providing a shoe this good. This next category is trendiest sneaker of 2022, and in my mind, this one has a unanimous winner, and that is none other than the Jordan 4 Military Black. Now, there are a few reasons why I deem this shoe to be the trendiest of 2022. Number one, the fact that a lot of people really moved away from like dunks and ones, especially in like the TikTok sphere, opting for the 4, which was kind of seen as like the I'm different kind of like stylish person of 2022. A lot of people move towards those shoes, like the 3s and the 4s, while at the very same time keeping the color scheme of last year's trendy sneaker of the year, which was the Panda Dunk. So I guess in retrospect, you can call this shoe the I'm different Panda Dunk. Yeah, I feel like the Jordan 4 Military Black fits that script. Super versatile shoe. Makes total sense why so many people gravitated to that shoe. And of course, it's a Jordan 4 silhouette, one of the very best to ever release. And so for that reason, I see it as the trendiest shoe of 2022. You guys let me know if you guys agree or disagree. To me, it's unanimous. All right, and so we've made our way over to the sneaker of the year segment, and I decided to go ahead and break it up into 3 parts. 3 different subcategories as to why these 3 sneakers are sneaker of the year, and naming one of them as the ultimate sneaker of the year. I really had a hard time deciding which shoe would be my sneaker of the year, because of course this is such an arbitrary matter, but on what grading scale are we deciding this on? And so for that reason, I'm going to come to a conclusion, and I have come to a conclusion. But with that to say, these 3 really jostled for position. It was tough. It was really tough decision for me to end up on. But anyways, the 3 sneakers I'm referring to and the 3 subcategories it takes up is the following. First, you've got the light bone colorway, which is hyper versatile, looks amazing with pretty much any outfit because just such an easy color to wear. And then you have the sulfur colorway, which is a bit louder. It's very much so like a statement sneaker because it's such a bright colorway, it being that like mustardy yellow. Very awesome on the toe. And a huge reason why this shoe ultimately became such a constant go-to for me is because this silhouette is so dang good. They look amazing with anything, any bottom you decide to go ahead and go with, whether it be work pants, Dickies, denim, shorts, whatever you throw at these shoes, they look excellent with. And for that reason, it was very difficult for me to not want to wear these shoes. Apart from that, they're super rugged, so they're ready for any terrain. They don't really show signs of wear, and so you don't feel bad wearing these to any occasion. I actually wear my sulfur pair all the time to the gym. It's my regular gym shoe, that and a pair of New Balance 990s that I have. But yeah, just overall a shoe that I really love to wear, opt to wear, and was easily the shoe I wore most throughout 2022. So I definitely have the Tom Sachs GPS as one of my sneakers of the year, and could potentially be the reigning sneaker of the year for 2022 by my standards. Next, at some capacity, this shoe had to be in today's video as just a top sneaker of 2022 and potentially my 2022 sneaker of the year. This one takes up the subcategory of best collab of the year. Now you guys might be wondering, Paul, what about Travis Scott? What about the Travis Scott releases? And that's a really great point. I just feel like this year I don't necessarily put the Travis Scott anywhere close to these Alma Maniere 4s. These to me just really take the cake when it comes to details, when it comes to exquisite execution, when it comes to just overall building and just elevating the shoe overall. Now you guys might recall, last year, the Alma Maniere Jordan 3 was my sneaker of the year. And so James Whitner might just be the perennial sneaker champion or back-to-back sneaker champion, just because, yeah, this shoe is so excellent. And if you guys haven't watched my review on any of these shoes just yet, make sure to check out the links below. I'll be sure to provide those links. But yeah, just overall, the Alma Maniere Jordan 4, I can't stop gushing about this shoe. I've worn them quite a bit since I've had them, and that's in light of the fact of they're a fairly recent or late release for 2022. So very excellent, and more details in the full review that I did on this shoe. All right, and the third shoe, and what is the consensus sneaker of the year throughout the interwebs, we have the Jordan 1 Lost and Found. You guys already knew this one was coming. It seems to be pretty unanimous throughout Instagram, YouTube, my comment section, on all platforms, the Facebook group, just everything. Everybody has deemed this one sneaker of the year, and rightly so. I mean, when you take into account all of the renditions of the Chicago Jordan 1, whether it be the Spider-Mans, 2015s, the Off-Whites, we just see this shoe time and time again resell for insane amounts of money. Thus, we know that there is just crazy demand for this colorway of the Jordan 1, and it is absolutely justified. The shoe is just such a timeless classic. When you think Jordan 1, you got to think about a few pairs, but probably this one sticks out the most. And I say that in terms of color blocking. Alongside this one would be like a Bread or UNC even. But yeah, the Chicago always has to come to mind, generally speaking. And so for that reason, due to the fact that this colorway just has such insane demand, I was hyped up beyond measure upon releasing. This one has to take the position of best release of the year. Everybody loves their lost and founds. The storytelling behind this shoe is just so fire. If you guys haven't heard all my opinions on this shoe just yet, go ahead and check out my review on them. There's actually a full series on this shoe. The Jordan 1 Lost and Found has to definitely be up there as the best release of the year, not to mention a very strong candidate for sneaker of the year, no doubt. All right, and so these are the 3 sneakers of the year: Lost and Found, A Ma Maniére 4, and then we have the Tom Sachs GPS. 2 of these have to go, and 1 of these has to be the best of the best. And so my sneaker of the year is the Tom Sachs GPS. Now, I know this is probably going to be a hot take, and it's probably going to trigger a lot of people out there, but when it all comes down to it, there had to be one last criteria to judge sneaker of the year. It can't be just based around hype or what the consensus is of the internet, that being the Jordan 1 Lost and Found. And in my opinion, it can't just be based on the fact that the details and the execution of the shoe really surpass everything else. But in my humble opinion, the best shoe of the year has to be the shoe that I wore the most. At the end of the day, shoes are meant for touching your toes. And now, while this wasn't the most expensive or hyped shoe, this was unequivocally the shoe that were on my feet the most this year, and thus giving it that position in my mind and in my heart of sneaker of the year. If you don't already own a pair of Tom Sachs GPS, I highly suggest you give them a try. Even if you just get the Sulfur colorway, I wear those a lot. I think you're going to love them. I highly suggest just giving them a chance. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that just think I'm so foolish, and maybe I am, but this was the shoe that I chose and elected to wear the most. With all that being said, I want to hear what you have to say, your opinions, your thoughts, your concerns. If you disagree, if you agree, in the comments below. What is the best sneaker of 2022 from your point of view? Let's get a conversation going among the community. If you did enjoy today's video, please be sure to communicate that to me by liking today's video and subscribing to my channel with notifications on. Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's video. I'll catch you in the next upload. Peace and be blessed.